All right. Hello, everyone. This is Sunday morning recording session. We're here, season three draft episode to not kick off content week, close out content week. Draft season hype. Let's take it all the way back to season three draft season hype with James and Jordan and possibly later on Daddy.
Hey, drafting's the best part,
Hello.
right?
Yes, the draft is
Absolutely.
the best part. All right, we have teams, we have a draft, we have a whole lot of fun stuff. Um, do we just want to kick off with the first team being the first pick, which was James?
Sure. Yeah. This was my team. I took off for season two, uh, and then was back for season three. And the dice roll said, "Congratulations on coming back. You get the first pick." And I said, "Thank you very much to Poppins RNG. I will take a Thunderous, please."
James' spirit animal.
That's right. I love Thunderous. Other than like 2014, 2015, I think Gen 8 Thunderous was the best that Thunderous ever has been. And
Yeah.
even though my season wasn't that great, it was awesome to draft and awesome to play with. I really liked having it. Thunderous I will always recommend as a reasonable first round pick to anybody.
Agree. Top
Yeah.
5 mon in Dynamax generation. Question:
Yeah.
Does defense win championships?
Yes.
Nearly won Pop in a championship.
It's a
Depends
tricky
what you
thing
mean by
because I
defense.
think
Yeah.
I'm spoilers on all of our teams. All of our teams are more defensive than I would have expected. As in, so James has a pretty good max airstream mon, and but the
Slash
Two
defensive.
actually. Naganadel was also a pretty good max air streamer with
Yeah.
air
But-
slash. But
yeah,
That's true.
Arcanine.
So that's better than
Arcanine-
I think I gave
yeah.
you credit for at the time. Sam and I don't, and
No.
I think both of us were too bulk oriented in our times, which we'll get to our teams. But
I'll push
I
back
remember
on that,
saying
I'll
your
push
team was
back.
too defensive, James, and I think I'm seeing more stuff now than I did back then. Like, the Avalug stuff. You did the the own tempo swagger own tempo. You did the Blastoise. Max G-Max cannonades, or did you not have Super Blastoise?
No, I think this was
I think
the
this-
first season where we
yeah.
combined them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
there
no
was
difference
just
between
there
Max
just
and
was
G-Max now.
Blastoise
Yeah.
and not a So I did have that as a max.
So you had offensive numbers, and you had some speed, and you had Thunderous supporting them. So I feel like this team was pretty good. Where did you think, like when you drafted it, how good did you feel about it?
So immediately after the draft, I was like, this team is awesome. It's so many of my favorite Pokemon that are sweet Pokemon. And, Thunderous, Blastoise, Aegislash, Pangoro, Arcanine are all awesome. And then, I think I probably didn't play it as good as I would, like built and played as good as I would have now. But I remember it feeling a little overwhelming. Like my wins felt almost effortless, but I remember so often feeling like I was behind or didn't have enough offense, or like I just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I ended up being like, what should what could this team have been doing differently? I think some of that might be because of the like this was our last draft with tiers as
Tiers,
opposed to
yeah.
points, right? We just had S tier, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier
Yeah.
4.
And just
you
for,
could
for
only
sorry.
have one S tier.
Can I give some viewer
Uh,
context on the doc? It's just listed. So like as you see the team, S tier, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Oh wait, is it then 2 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, and then free points? So James 3 points is SA. A tier Arcanine, probably whatever. But the 3 picks are the
Arcanine,
last 4.
Naganadel,
Yeah.
and 2 tier 4s.
Yeah.
Lopunny and Shiinotic.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to give some context
No
on
problem.
the tiering.
I think we had it as like tier 1, 2, 3, and 4
Yeah,
rather
I
than A,
believe
B,
we
C,
did,
D. But yeah,
it's fine.
same thing.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah, I think with more granularity, I could have, you know, made some, some slightly different drafting decisions that could have helped me out a little better. Like the Mawile was just not getting it done in
Yeah.
Gen 8. That
Yeah,
was more
agreed.
or less a waste. I mean, not a waste, but like basically never came. Lopunny came to deal with a fast rain mode, I think. One
Lopunny
week
was
with like
good. I had it once.
some Klutz trick lagging tail stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Just a
I think
good stuff mod.
I think Shiinotic came against the rain as well.
Shiinotic's good too.
But other than that, I don't think I ever brought Shiinotic. So like Shiinotic, Lopunny, Mawile, I basically never brought.
Yeah.
Pangoro, I remember I swapped out, but I don't remember what for. We'd have to go back and like find battles way back in the server, like find links and stuff like that.
We'll see.
I don't remember what I traded it out for, but I did after I don't know, I think like 3 weeks, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But I like this team over. Like looking back on it, I was like, I'm thinking like this team is cracked. Like I would love to play 10 weeks with this team again.
Yeah.
So this is our last 10-week season as well, right?
No, I think season 2 was. I
Our
think this
first,
was maybe
first
9.
7-week season.
No,
9,
I think
maybe?
we did some midpoints between the two. I think this might have been 9.
This
8,
season,
8 maybe.
And then 7 from there on out.
Yeah, I think it was 8, and then maybe I was pushing for 9, and people went 7 instead. Which I don't know how I feel about still. So I do like the divisions, but the slightly longer season is also a little more fun in some ways. 7
Yeah,
is very
Sam,
quick.
you and me will talk people into 2 cross division weeks at some point, but
yeah,
I think not quite yet.
Not anytime soon, unfortunately.
If people want to play more with their team than they feel like they had a chance to, we got exhibitions,
That's true. That's true.
People are really enjoying like not having garbage weeks where they're out of it, or not having too many weeks where they're out of contention.
That's true, but you can also be out of it so fast, and I have experience with this since I've been terrible lately.
Yeah.
Like losing the first 2 weeks feels so bad. Because then it's like I need to win I need to win 5 straight, or I might not make it.
Although, I lost week 1 and week 2 and made playoffs last season. So.
Well, that's just the doctor.
Were you 0-3 to 4-3, James?
No, I was 0-2 to 4-2 to 4-3.
I think I've done that before, but then missed.
Or like maybe 3-2 to 3-3 to 4-3.
Okay.
Something. Yeah, because I had to win my last week to make playoffs.
If I remember correctly, I went either 0-2 or 1-1 to 4-2 to 4-3 and then missed 4-3. Like that is the worst. Because then it's like you literally, if you start 0-2, you cannot. If the division shakes out the wrong way for you, you cannot lose for 5 weeks.
I mean, that's going to be the case regardless, right? You can't lose too many times if you want to be among the winningest coaches.
Well, when you put it like that, yeah.
But
so I'm happy that you're still happy with the team, James, and I think like
I've actually
redrafted a pretty good team and
several of these too.
If you play it like better than we were all capable of playing it, then it becomes like a really great team. I found like when I had Blastoise in season 2, and I like every time it like hit like a wet blanket if I wasn't like doing max water moves particularly. Every time I do like a coverage move, it'd be like 20%. And so like Blastoise makes a lot of difference depending on how you build it. If you like go all out support with like its fake out and yawn icy wind stuff.
Yeah.
But like if you like scarf the water spout, then you get to do some real damage and stuff like that. So I think it's we had personal evolutions to go, but we also had a lot of good ideas and good sensibilities about like these are promising Pokemon, and how do we get the balance right? That's the thing that it's taken 10 seasons and we haven't figured out yet.
Yeah. So I have a couple of things. So first of all, Thundurus, obviously not at its best as a VGC Pokemon at this point, and I don't know very much about draft in the gens where Thundurus was more broken, but it very possibly was at its best as a draft mon here because it was both a top tier prankster and a top tier Dynamax Pokemon with Defiant and Airstream. So it was like stupidly good. That's one thing, obviously. The
Yeah,
other
totally.
thing is on this team, I think you expect Agislash to pull a lot of weight, both defensively and offensively, if that makes sense. Like it just seems like a fairly pivotal Pokemon. I personally never really understood how to use it well. So that I think is just a struggle of this team of just like figuring out how to make the most out of Agislash because it's obviously very good, but it's a little tougher to play with just because it's so weird.
Just
Yeah,
a mon that
Aegislash
wasn't made with Dynamax in mind.
Yeah, 100%. Because like Aegislash in Gen 7 was like very, very good, right? It was
Yeah.
on like multiple regional winning team. Like it was all over the place. Aegislash was great. And
Yeah.
it had tons of different sets it could run. It was one of the only good weakness policy users
Before.
pre Dynamax and pre
Yeah.
like people started exploring weakness policy
Yeah.
as a real item, because like you just bulk it out to live anything. It's always like you make it slow, so it's always gonna take a hit, and then it just kills something with Shadow Ball or it kills something with Flash Cannon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not as great in the Dynamax world, and
Yeah.
it did pretty handily win me a game against Weezing Gigas though.
Yeah.
In my I think week 2 match.
No, and
But-
also sorry, but
No, go
also just with Agislash, like I think there probably generally speaking was some extra value on the board for these like very specific niche Pokemon that are really strong when Max is, not there, or if Max is there already used up, but were not super ideal for Max. I think there was probably some value left on the board and left on teams because of Pokemon like that. So something like Agislash to me now is very interesting because if you build very, very aggressively to create a team that like trades maxes early and then just use Agislash as a cleanup Pokemon, it's probably like very, very strong.
Yeah, seems like a late game kind of mon. Aegislash did eventually win a VBL championship with Tay in Season 6, and it did well enough to become the name of the division in the following season.
Yes. Was it Logo?
But yeah, that was post Dynamax, and that's where it really found its niche again.
It was Logo too, though, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Logo.
I think so.
All right, but you said weakness policy. When I think of weakness policy, I think of Goodra. Yay? Nay?
Think of Dynamax in general, but
yeah,
yes.
I mean
Dynamax
Dynamax
Stan.
generally,
Go for
but
it.
yes.
Show us your Goodra.
All right. Should I talk about this first, or does someone else want to talk about this first?
Yeah, give us your thoughts.
All right. So, despite the look, this is not a Comfey Goodra team, or it wasn't intended to be at first. It became one. For sure, it became one. This was intended to be an Incin team because I had pick something early, like 6. I'm checking.
You had
4.
Pick. There you go, 4. Yep, 4.
Okay. 4. Oh, I think I might have had 4 in back-to-back seasons then. But either way, me being the little genius that I was, I saw Thundurus get taken. I saw Metagross get taken. I saw Tornadus get taken. I'm saying, all right, what are these buffoons missing? The best Pokemon in VGC, probably the best Pokemon in history of VGC, is just sitting on the board, waiting to be taken. Again, little genius that I was. So I grabbed everyone's favorite. Wait, I put myself on the spot. lion. Is it a lion or a tiger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So how did I decide to build around this intimidating cat? I decided that obviously you just get the highest special defense uh, in the game because why not? As you can see, I end up with an average special defense of 98, which is astronomically high considering that Chinchino and Hunter are pulling it down on the low end. Um, so yeah, the idea was if everything won't die, especially, I can make them not die physically, and I will never die. This uh, coincidentally led to the very smart acquisition of Comfe Gudra, um, which was what this team actually became because that was like one of the best duos in Gen 8 Dynamax period. But Incineroar was, disappointing. Little.
Have we all three had Incineroar on our team at one point?
Had it on a draft team. I just had it with like a speed tour. I thought the
Okay.
pairing, the perfect
Okay.
pairing is Bronzong. So you set Trick Room, you Bulldozer Rock Tomb yourself, you Weakness Policy Incineroar, and go.
I like it. Did it
But
work?
yeah, like it's not super strong for the
No.
Dynamax era. Like for a draft setting where you want to make sweepers, like it doesn't
Yeah.
fit into that role perfectly. It should be very good as a support mon, but when it attracts a lot of attention in a draft setting, it's not quite as good, not as slappable as on the ladder.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
that's what
I had it.
Yeah,
I had
go
it
ahead.
season 1, and
Mhm.
I also felt pressure to make it my offensive centerpiece in a way that made it less desirable.
Yeah.
I never traded it. I didn't get rid of it when I did lots of transactions. Thinking back on it, I probably would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a very good, like it's an undeniably good Pokemon, and its tiering consistently reflects it, and its its pick location in a draft also reflects it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of underwhelmed by it, and have mostly been underwhelmed by it on other teams.
Yeah.
I think I mean it's just it's a ladder mon really,
Yeah.
where that roll compression is so much more important.
Yeah. I happen to recall though that after this season, like Incin had really bad stats, like kill death was really bad, death percentage was really bad, and people like thought it wasn't good, but I think I still kind of defended it after the season. So now a little more nuanced, probably just like that role could have been performed by not an S tier. But I do think it did just like come in with lead, make something, uh, feel its presence, and then Comfy Gudra would just come in and kill everything. So in that sense, it did work out a little bit. Like it provided some value, even though it wasn't like a centerpiece, which I think is sort of how you use it. I think it wasn't perfectly deployed, but it wasn't my main max option, which at least shows improvement from Tapu Koko. Also,
Kill death stats are not going to be the way to make
No.
Incineroar look good,
No,
right? Its
they're
job
not.
is to support the
True.
team with Fake Out, Intimidate,
Yes.
etc. So like it dies so that other mons can succeed, and your
Yeah.
Gudra did succeed. Like
Yeah.
we were going back to Dynamax mindset, it was really good when it could scale itself like
Yeah.
very
No,
easily with max moves.
I just very strongly remember Incin dying on turn 1 a lot, like just getting absolutely blasted by a max move. But sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes that's all you
Sounds like
need.
a skill issue.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, just have your opponents target different mons.
Yeah,
Did you
but
keep Klefki and Magnezone all season?
no, I definitely dropped Magnezone, which I was just about to talk about. But before I do, last thing on Incin, I also just remembered, it's all coming back to me. There was a little more behind the Incin pick. It wasn't just this is the best mon in Pokemon, so of course I want it. It was also well, I brought Scraggy every week on my terrible team, and this is just Scraggy if it was a good Pokemon. So of course it's going to be amazing. But it turns out if you can cheaply compress the same roles, that's more valuable than compressing the roles, but with a much more expensive Pokemon.
Which is sort of just rediscovering Jordan's thought that spend your points on attackers and then
Yeah.
get cheap supports to support them.
Yeah.
Particularly when we had like very low, modestly priced mons like Purloin and Fungus and stuff like that. But then that was definitely the strat.
Yeah. But Magnezone, yes. So as you guys can see, ground weakness and Magnezone, very bad. Very, very bad.
But you have the top tier Mantine protecting them.
And Haunter.
Well, Haunter is top tier. Hey. Haunter is top tier. I've had Haunter like 6 times, and it's always like not, quite as good as my top tiers, but like just below that. It's so good.
I found Haunter
is so
to
good.
be my 7th mon a lot of the time.
It was like
got
it's
serious
like
consideration in prep, but then never actually got brought.
I have like
I like
the
Haunter
opposite.
too,
It's
but
like
I think we
always
all
the
agree
6th.
that if you got a ground weakness,
So
it's not
good.
like you slot it in and you've solved it.
Yeah, so Magnezone is not ideally situated here. I think I don't even know what I was looking for specifically. Knowing me, knowing steel types, it probably just made the type chart look nice. But shares a weakness with shares its major weakness with Incin, which is bad.
And Klefki.
And Klefki.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm kind of asking to get quaked by every team. I knew this Magnezone was a big Steve mon, which like always, especially in these times, carried extra weight in my mind, because like I didn't yet understand that like Steve and I are different players. The Pokemon he likes might be different than the Pokemon I like, and that might not reflect on their inherent value.
Season 2 was
Gen 4 draft.
Who had Comfy Gudra in Season 2 and did super well with it?
Season 1 was definitely what's that guy's name? Avent. Season 2, I don't
Time
know.
Guy. Yeah. Season 1. So in Season 2, you took you took the Double Ghost after seeing it do very well in Season 1, and then Season 3 you took Coffee Gudra after remembering it doing very well.
Hey, that was not right. I took Comfy Gudra because Gudra has a high SPDF. I'll have you know. And Comfy does too, actually. So
I don't know. I'm just noticing a trend where maybe you like, ooh, that was good. I'll do that. Which is smart.
We all do that. Are you gonna say that I did that with Metagross too? Like, no, everyone just knows that Metagross is good. Of course, it's gonna have good previous performances. It's just the best. Like Comfy Gudra was bound.
There was a weird consideration back in Dynamax era. James was talking about Quake, where if you were going to attract max Quakes, you wanted physical offense because max Quake boosted special defense, and if you had steel weaknesses, you wanted special offense. And so this was a team with an unfortunate combination of being weak to max Quake and also more specially attacking than physically attacking.
Gudra's physical,
so I tried to get stuff like physical fire types like my Entei, so that if I'm going to take a Quake, it's at least not making the matchup that hard. But Magnezone is not, even if it sturdies the max Quake, it's not going to be able to KO back.
It's not, But Gudra and Incin are physical, so like Gudra is physical.
Kind of physical, but like
it's mainly physical.
When you got to go back in time and go, Gudra was really good back then with the weakness policy and with the scaling.
But with Sapsipper as well, though.
Yeah,
like that's Comfey was good with Sapsipper too. I ran Sapsipper.
If you were running Sapsipper, you were just running it for like a cheeky immunity some week, or like just because you weren't going to get any value out of hydration. Or whatever.
No, it was for Giga Drains with like Assault Vest, or after the weakness policy. If you want to keep boosting, because the priority Giga Drain is almost as good as the priority Draining Kiss. I definitely ran Sapsipper. Like that's half of the thing with Comfey. But whatever, it's fine. Yes. So this team, it has issues. One of them is Magnezone. It doesn't really make sense here. I didn't like it. I dropped it at some point. Mantine pretty good, but not super bringable. Like it's pretty situational. Klefki is the GOAT, obviously. I think at this point I wasn't, or maybe this season I did use screens, but for some portion of time I just like wasn't using screens. Maybe it was after this, and I don't really know why. because like most of my teams ever would have benefited greatly from screens. So now I have a Grimmsnarl. So this is the time is a flat circle interlude. Klefki to Grimmsnarl. Exactly. Time is a flat circle.
The more we change, the more we stay the same.
Exactly. Slowking, this mon was incredible. Came frequently. Haunter the same. Hitmonchan, it's like its third time already on my team. Came sometimes. And Jinchino, second time. I liked that it had 115 speed after you for basically free. That was after you was really underrated in Gen 8, in my opinion.
I had it season 1, and I also had it in a Nat Deck season.
Yeah.
And I also loved after you. I ran Scarf after you sometimes with it.
Yep.
Just to,
Absolutely.
I ran that next to Mega Camerupt once or twice. So my Nat Deck season, Scarf after you,
Eruption.
Heat Waves, and
Heat Waves.
well, that would kill the Chinchino, but
got it.
Or no, Lava Plume is the hit. Yeah, Eruption. Yeah, yes, Eruption. And then Earth Powers as well.
Yeah.
And then I think I dragged Drampa along with a Scarf after you once or twice in season 1 as well.
Yeah.
Great mon.
After you is really good, especially when you have a Goodra, because you just Comfey stuff. You sop up hits with Ally Switch. Comfey dies. Jinchino comes in, all of a sudden Goodra moves first. Before it dies, it kills something. Fun times. No good Tailwind here, right? It's Mantine. It says Comfey has it. Comfey does not have it. That's a lie. But it's just Mantine. Yeah, I talked myself into.
You want to be in Galar.
Oh, that's my bad. I'm out of practice.
That's fine.
Mantine, I got, so like, it's just good. Like, it's just a good stuffs type Pokemon. But I really got into my head that if I needed Tailwind, I could Klefki Rain Dance, Swift Swim, Tailwind. Don't think like that. That's way too much setup.
So passive.
Yeah, that is way too much setup. I don't think I did that once. If I ran Swift Swim Mantine, it was to click Max Geyser. Because Max Geyser is strong. Yeah, that's really.
It would be a Swift Swimmer if 80 was a good offensive stat.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
Sometimes. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time with this team in the podcast episodes to come.
Yes.
But speaking to your progression as a player, as a drafter, this is when you and I started kind of chatting about teams. Was this season?
Yes.
And we were both too defense oriented, and we're not going to segue to my team just yet. But this team not just like it thinks it's controlling the game, but it's actually losing, but more slowly?
No, I disagree.
If you didn't have Goodra like scaling out of control,
but
this team would be such a snooze.
But
as in it would be so slow paced.
The issue is, but I do, and I think it was Kill Leader. Like, there is a Goodra. You can't ignore the Goodra. Like that, then it's not the same team. I did drop Amoonguss. Amoonguss was too passive for my liking on this team. But again, I don't know that might be a me thing, because like Spore is good. Yes, I think I like couldn't justify bringing Amoonguss like the first 3 weeks, and then just dropped it for something. I don't remember what. We'll figure it out. But yeah, and otherwise, too bulky team doesn't matter when you have Comfey Goodra, which is both bulky and Comfey Goodra. You know what I mean? Like it just kills things. You have physical special on Goodra, and you have like basically rainbow coverage. It's pretty sweet, and you heal yourself.
So I don't remember your matches particularly well in season 3, but my guess is after a week, after starting probably week 3, you were getting hyper targeted into your Goodra, and then losing 7 turns later a lot with underwhelming offense would be my guess.
No, I had a good regular season. I think
you did have a good regular season. Okay.
Yes, yeah. This is my first this is a good intro for everyone. This is my first actually good season. We'll see what happens come playoff, but it was a good season before that. Yeah, because I think so mainly like, especially in this time, people would like lead their counters to your best thing. You know what I mean? Like if someone had a Hazemon, it would come out front. First of all, haze is sometimes futile because you need to survive to haze. You don't always survive to haze. That's also a situation where Sap Zipper is better because you can boost again. Um, I think I would lead Ensign often and just like be okay with it dying, which certainly makes Gudra better because um, you're not killing Gudra after an Intimidate, so you better hope your check is a rock solid check. Otherwise, you will lose. So I think that's mainly how I operated.
Yeah, we have to appreciate that in the Dynamax era, you could build a lot more around one Pokemon.
Around a single Pokemon.
Yes.
Gudra was
Sure.
capable of carrying it at that point. So
Yeah.
that's entirely fair, as in, like, not focusing on Gudra when analyzing this team would be totally missing the point that it's
Yeah.
such an ever-present problem.
Yeah, that's just how Max was. All right, let's shift to Jordan's team, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about my team.
There were plenty of parallels, though. Your team was very good against other slow-going teams like mine.
Yeah.
Because then I had no way to stop Gudra from scaling, which we will see, despite me probably not wanting to watch
I
that episode
already
again.
flipped. I already flipped to the Rillaboom.
That's fine.
Team.
I learned a lot from this season, and this season was growth as well as some success. But like season 2, my first in the VBL, I was like Dragapult plus Cobalion, Blastoise plus Colossal, Glass Cannons with Togekiss. It had all the combos, but then as soon as you knew what the combos were, like I effectively had fewer Pokemon because everything was like dependent on everything else. And so I was the adjustment for season 3 was like, let's get Pokemon that do good things on their own, that you throw them out in any condition and they can do some things.
I love your
And the
team,
problem
I'm
is
gonna be
that's
honest.
all my Pokemon. Rillaboom can take a hit, Entei can take a hit, Clefable can take a hit, Bronzong can take a hit, Crafty, another great defensive backbone mon. And the hypothesis was you can find your offense by slapping on random weakness policies, which is kind of true. And you can find your offense through scaling, stuff like coaching, stuff like life orbs and setup moves. And so I was able to do that. The problem is you're playing in a vacuum, right? You're like, oh, I can scale, but like, what about when your opponent scales too? Like Max Airstream was such a problem for this team because it started a little bit on the back foot, a little slower, a little bit less strong, and I couldn't solve both of those problems at once. Like I could outplay some opponents some of the time, but that was a tricky thing. Is just keeping up with the pace of Max Airstreams and there other teams that could scale and play offense more effectively.
Yeah.
Though I really liked this team. I really liked a lot of the Mons here, and I generally subscribe to them. I think the balance, that was the thing I had to fix. That by season 4, I had the balance between playing strong offense and playing strong defense at the same time.
Can I kind of be a little bit of a dissenting opinion?
Go for it.
Well, so the Airstream thing is a good point. Like Airstream was the best move in the game, and you were flying weak, and you were slow, so not fun.
And your only Airstreamer, I think, was Inteleon, right?
I can Airstream with Rillaboom, but it was
Rillaboom has acrobatics.
Has acrobatics, sure. Yeah.
And
okay.
So I do see some of the like overall weaknesses, but I still feel like this team might have been able to get it done. Like I don't like Armaldo at all on this team, or Fracture, honestly. And Hitmonlee and Scrafty are both good, but I kind of don't love them together. But this team
pursued a couple of moves, which ultimately was recognizing how good Hitmonlee is. So ultimately, I got rid of Scrafty and I got Tailwind. I got Mandibuzz by the end of the season. Through a couple of transactions, I made this team better, which is what makes me a big believer in transactions. Was partially this team.
I don't love Mandibuzz, but if it worked, it works.
It was good. It was honestly what I needed. But
all right.
Anyway.
I just this team makes me feel a certain way. I guess Entei was worse than Max.
Entei was like 20 and 10 or something. It was my kill leader, which is also speaks to the team's problem because it didn't have enough offense. But Entei was very good.
Oh, did you run like weakness policy with Aquajet?
Yes, I did.
God, Entei is so good. I love Entei. I haven't had Clefable, I think, but that's a mon I want.
Goated. goated for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
Clefable is
Clefable's
great.
I had it in season 4.
Um,
I had several of these months. Well, I guess
Rillaboom,
2. I
I
had
guess
Inteleon and
was
Clefable.
Rillaboom underwhelming? Like it should be good though.
It was a little bit underwhelming. I did give every mon a grassy seed at one point or another,
Yeah.
so it was effective as like a team support. But yeah, I wanted more out of my
I
top
mean,
tier.
I think maybe the issue with like a Rillaboom and like I don't know what exactly I was expecting for Instant. I don't think I was expecting it to be a Max Mon, but
This is the team at the end. It was significantly better.
yeah.
As in, I
But
got the Swampert, I got the Magneton,
Yeah.
and I got the Mandibuzz for just
We're-
better, a little bit more explosiveness.
Yeah.
Scarf, Magneton, Electrowebs was actually what my team needed to get going a
well,
little bit faster.
also it's just like this does bulk better. Like Swampert is not gonna outspeed you, but it just does bulk a little better than your original
Yep.
stuff. I again would probably push back on Armaldo on this team for that reason of just like it's another slow thing that I don't think is that good at being slow. I think there are ways to do being slow well. I think Bronzong
The Rock
Geology-
Tomb weakness policy.
Yeah.
It almost worked.
Yeah, I think
This was a more theory versus practice mon,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
I
think-
remember your conclusions from that
it was
season
trash.
were being
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
I had
Your-
bad
your
experiences
Swift-
with bugs.
yeah, your swift
This was one
swimmer
of
should
them.
not be weak to water.
I don't
Yeah,
like
that's not
I don't
great.
like Armaldo.
Yeah.
Yo,
but like
when
the-
this guy gets Terra, he's gonna be better for sure.
The Clefable Bronzong Dragology mode, really compelling Trick Room mode, but also just like your Rillaboom Entei, and honestly Inteleon. So like Swampert does the water type of being that the water type of that trio better because Inteleon's role is kind of different, but like bulky Firewater Grass Core does work. Like it takes some careful play, but it does work. I think at least.
Like I think we totally agree on are there great things, but I think
Yeah.
this speaks to the fact that after 10 seasons, I still view you as too defensive a player.
Yeah,
This team
no,
makes your heart sing more than it does mine because
Yeah.
the defense is amazing, but you really got to up the pace of the game
Yeah,
if you want to
we've-
play against
we've definitely
K's and Steves
diverged.
and everyone else.
Yeah. No, and we've definitely diverged, and that's what I was going to talk about. I think this is the point in time where we do kind of diverge.
Yeah.
In bulk stuff because I went bulky and had success, you went bulky and didn't have success. So I think there are reasons for that though. I don't think it's just like bulky good, bulky bad. I think my bulk worked because although Entei is really good, you don't have a bulk option that just wins. You have bulk options that are strong. I think for bulky modes to work, your bulk needs to just win when it works. You know what I mean? You know what I
Well,
mean? Like if you can
Just
extend the
win.
game,
That's
you
the
will
question
win.
to me.
No, but I'm saying like
Well, no,
if you-
that's honestly a question I don't have an answer for. So
Yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
so like if you have Gudra, if you give it enough turns, it will just win. Entei, if you give it enough
Because it
turns,
scales
it might not win.
offensively,
Yeah,
not because
yes.
it scales defensively.
Yeah, that's true. No, I think that's kind of what I mean by just win is
Yeah.
be able to scale offensively but like utilize your bulk to become an offensive threat eventually. There are other ways to do it. Perish Sung, Oko moves, you know what I'm saying. But you
Even
just
song modes like the ability to take 2 quick KOs.
Oh, for sure. No, and I think another pitfall of this team is that your only fast mon is Inteleon. I think when I go bulky, I typically want at least 2, and I want them to be like Inteleon just feels a little weird here because it doesn't know. I guess it's good actually because you can take a KO, you can Icy Wind. Honestly, Inteleon would probably be a little better here if it wasn't a max team because then it would be very comfortable Icy Winding, taking a KO with a water move.
You would
but
have a
it's
little bit more time. Inteleon was
Yeah.
good. I did successfully focus energy into max crit sniper stuff into
Oh,
tank.
nice.
It got a couple of good weeks, but the problem is it had to pull too much weight for the team being the only fast
Yeah.
mon. Or like Hitmonlee actually recognizing Hitmonlee as crucial because it could be immediately fast with Unburden. That was another
Yeah.
piece I had to recognize.
Yeah, and that was one of the first things that I saw. Actually, I just kind of forgot about it because it was sitting at the end of my screen. But yeah, that's good. And with coaching, that's good. But like even coaching is scaling. But like if you let one coaching go off into Rillaboom and kill Hitmonlee, you're not gonna just like instantly lose the game. If you let Gudra set up, like you're just gonna lose. I don't really see a ton of that with your team because even I guess weakness policy Dragology is one of those, but it's a little easier to stop because Trick Room has to go up first, and then you also have to get the bulldoze. So that's a little bit of an easier mode to stop. And some conflict over weakness policies. Obviously, like only one thing can hold it, so that's a little bit of an issue too. But
I think
yeah,
we're agreeing with a lot of like how good the Mons are, how stoppable they are. I
yeah,
think what we tend to disagree on is like the balance, as in
yeah,
like I think you're winning
yeah,
defensively at max 20% of the time, and you would say that makes the difference like 40% of the time. As in your ability to live a couple of hits so that you can win eventually. I think that's just losing more slowly a lot of the time. Like that's how it ends up being, how it was for my team when it lost. It would survive a hit, but it would just lose the next turn.
yeah.
But it did well when it could coach up, when it could scale, when it could, when it could take some control of the game. And Clefable is an amazing mod for taking control of the game.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and you do have Clefable too. I just think so. There were some issues with the first version. I think the final version, I just like it. I think Armaldo I would probably swap out for something, but other than that, I like it, and maybe Mandibuzz too. But apparently I'm wrong on Mandibuzz.
Yeah, I think you used all your transactions.
Mascot pick.
Right? There you go.
Oh, Mandibuzz is a B tier. Yeah, I would probably. Granted, it might not have been available when you did it, but I would probably try to get a faster Tailwind, just to have it, but not always possible.
Those were my options post draft.
Yeah. I like this team. I actually do. And I see
step on my way to the following season when I had the balance between offense and defense right. When you and I had the best teams in the league.
Yes. When I was still bulky.
Not only, well, no spoilers, whatever.
No spoilers. We've already
everybody knows that.
And also, yeah, we were all around. But yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say I also tend towards too defensive.
Yeah, we all do.
I mean,
but you figured it out, like in your own journey. You figured out like you did really good offensive stuff last season and in seasons past.
Yeah, but I mean, this honestly, it also very much makes my heart sing to see this like crazy bulky stuff. Right, Swampert, Rillaboom, Entei as a Firewater Grass Core,
good.
Clefable and Bronzong.
I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, it is just beautiful stuff.
Like I do think there is a world where I'm like, oh, I want to play this team so badly, and then I play it, and it's like, yeah, this is not fun.
Team is amazing, like full stop amazing in post Dynamax. When
I was literally about to say, in this actually looks
team.
like a top tier non-Dynamax team. That was what I was about to say. So yeah, maybe it's just that. Maybe it's that I'm not in the Dynamax spirit enough, so I just love this thing. That certainly could be it. Like, I think of Dragology as having like really good sweeping potential, but like, the max poison sucked, so you just needed a way to resist the max dragons, and then you're kind of fine.
We give up on Dynamax after 4 seasons in the VBL, and I was afraid at that point. I'm like, that's all I know. But honestly, the game is better post Dynamax. I'd be happy to do a reunion Dynamax season some point in the far off future.
I was better at Dynamax.
Yeah, like I understood Dynamax, but like it was chaos, and like the game is better now that you have a little bit less snowballing.
Yeah, I would like to try if we bring back VBL-N at some point. I would like to try a Dynamax Mega Terra and Z moves season. Like just have it all. I think it sounds awesome.
The Wild West.
Absolutely. I think it would be crazy fun.
So I think I have a little bit of a different memory of Dynamax from Jordan, or at least a different reflection. I don't think it was like Wild West. I think there were rules, they were just different rules. Like we were just playing a different game, which I don't think is necessarily a good or bad thing. Like I liked Dynamax, I liked non-Dynamax. I probably like non-Dynamax slightly more, but really slightly. Like I really do enjoy both of them. Dynamax is definitely more restricting, but it is also, I think, I would say just like fundamentally you're playing a different game.
Definitely true. Like there were times when Armaldo was clicking Steel Spike, or when other mons were clicking Quake, like non-stab Quakes.
Yeah.
Not because
All
I'm
the
doing
time.
damage, just because I'm like bulking out. Like,
Yeah,
and
all the
so
time.
Dynamax gave your mons time to just scale however you wanted to scale and control the weather, the terrain. There were really funky things you could do, and it felt very powerful when you had an effective Dynamax mon.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, that was a very fun element of the game, is the flexibility and the new strategies created by Dynamax.
Yeah, and I think I've recorded so many recently, so I don't want to like mess it up, but I think it was on the Minty one. We were talking about, I think in Dynamax, and like I do want opinions on this because this is a new take that just kind of came to me, and it might just be totally off. I think in Dynamax, like good teams or good matchups were way more brutal, just because like you could try to answer Gudra, you could try to answer Metagross, but you didn't always, like, you couldn't just do it if you wanted to do it. Like sometimes you just didn't have the tools to fight a specific Pokemon. Like Celesteela is probably the best example.
Some teams couldn't realistically handle Celesteela without 2v1s, 3v1s. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like,
yeah, because the multipliers, all fundamentally the scaling of Dynamax was such an issue for I think the game overall, but it was very fun when you're the mon with the Celesteela with a bajillion boosts.
That's fair. It was very weird because it made one Pokemon extremely powerful, but in doing so, it made all your other Pokemon feel so expendable. Like, that's why I think the Comphase of the world felt so good. It's just because, like, and actually Tapu Fini, because there were so few Pokemon that had, like, real outsized effect on the game when they themselves were not maxed. Comfey did.
Tapu Fini could reliably live a ×2 max move to click Haze. Like that was like one of the things that it could do that not a lot of mons could do at that
in my
point.
two Tapu Fini matches, in my two Tapu Fini matches, it once calm minded as my opponent maxed, and then it self maxed and won, and it also once unmaxed ate 3 Dynamax hits to stall an entire Dynamax.
Champion.
It was so good.
Yeah, it's a good mon. I would love to have the Tapus back.
I'm so excited. Not for Coco. Coco needs to be 90 points.
Nah, it'll be fine. Only one team gets Coco.
We buffed Coco for the upcoming generation because of all the new partners it gets.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's also non-max. Like, it's gonna be much better non-max with terrain boosted. Well, maybe it won't get Electro.
It's a good tempo mod. Like, it's good at clicking screens and whatever. You know, when it gets time to Volt switch in and out a couple of times.
It's just like switches, sure. It's by itself probably just like better Regieleki now. Just because it's not quite as fast, but functionally it's basically as fast. Okay, that's not true. It gets caught by Scarfers when Regieleki doesn't, because Regieleki is so stupidly fast that nothing catches it.
But Coco has a move pool.
But yeah, Coco has a move pool. Coco does more damage now, probably, with the Transistor nerf, or like the same damage, especially, and more damage physically. It can do Fairy stab if it's special. I think it's and terrain. So even without the Proto, no, not the Proto. Quark Drive. Even without the Quark Drive, it's probably just like better Regieleki right now. But with the Quark Drive stuff, it's really good. It's really, really good.
It would be a great fit for Terra because one of its best attributes was its typing of Electric Fairy, and it already had a good move pool, and so it didn't really need Terra Blast, but other mons are going to take more advantage of that than Coco. But it will be a good tempo mod.
Terra Blast Fairy, physical.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it gives it a physical fairy move that is useful, but yeah, most of the time you're probably not going to be terraing Coco.
No.
Although they could just never show
other
up.
Mons will do more with it.
We'll do more. Yeah, exactly. Although also we could just never get the Tapus in Jenna. Like they
I
might
know
have
we're getting
been
off
sure.
topic, but the Ultra Beast specifically, when they come back with Terra, Nihiligo is not
Oh
meant to have a
God.
good typing.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're right. I haven't even thought about that. No, even
And
worse. Guzzlord.
Buzzwole and like all
Guzzlord.
these mons that are
No,
just like
Guzzlord.
they
Oh
balance them by
God.
giving them weird typings, and now
With
they're gonna have
quadruple
fairy
weaknesses.
typing.
Yeah. Oh God. Wait, Guzzlord is gonna be a monster.
Yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
I mean,
So like they
Guzzlord.
did a good job
Guzzlord is a
keeping these
monster,
mons out
literally.
until the end.
Oh jeez. No. Is this a leak-free podcast?
I don't know. It's your podcast. I mean,
Are you
do it.
yourself
Oh
opposed
no,
to
I
leaks,
don't.
James?
I am opposed to opposing spoilers generally.
Okay. I believe the Tapus are confirmed in.
Oh, the Tapus are in the DLC.
I believe so. I believe
That'd
the
be good.
first one.
Yeah,
I'm
they'll
not
be good.
sure. Tapu Fini will be so good in VGC. It will probably also be so good in draft. Actually, not probably also.
Tapu
It'll
Bulu
probably
is gonna love the Terra.
for fairy moves.
Well, just grass mons
just
becoming something else.
Oh.
Yeah, just to have better typing.
Or it becoming pure grass and stacking that with grassy terrain and just killing stuff. That would be fun.
Yeah, it'll just have variety where it's
Yeah.
not constantly fearing getting blown up.
Yeah, steel will be good on it too with the poison, with the 4x poison weakness. Yeah, that'll be a fun mod.
Yep.
They'll all be
Seems
fun.
like we're kind of rambling at this point, so
Yeah.
that usually tells me the video is over. So
Yeah, just about. Well, I was thinking about Lele. What does Lele do? Oh, Lele is probably
Wrecking
better
Ball,
than NDD
such
again.
a good mon.
Yeah,
It's
it's probably,
good. Love Lele.
or maybe it's not because it doesn't follow me, but it might be nearly as good as NDD now, which is cool. Yeah. So that's the draft. I was gonna look at the overall draft for some like overall draft thoughts, but I don't know that we need to do that.
Zero stream was good.
What?
Offense was good. Bulk was
Yeah.
good sometimes when you had a good enough scaling.
Yeah, and then just the last thing was looking at your season 3 team, strolling down memory lane, but also right now, you know, being at the tail end of the season 10 content week. What are your you know, can you see how far you've come? How things stay the same? Any thoughts related to that?
Yes.
I'm a better player now. So are you, Sam.
Okay, thank you.
That was
James,
every-
Special guest
Hold on.
appearance. Is this the end of the video?
wait.
Yeah, we're closing out.
Let's go. Oh, I made it. Okay.
30 seconds. Give us your thoughts on
yeah,
your season
wait,
3 team.
I need
Daddy.
to.
It was
split up.
terrible. It was experimental. It didn't. I mean, it went okay. I think I was like 5-5 or something this season. But yeah,
So one of
not
your
the
best
best
seasons. One of your best seasons.
Stop.
Brutal.
Wait, you have 2 grass fairies? Wait, you have so many 4 times weaknesses. Oh
Yeah,
my
I-
god.
Chaos, and I liked it.
Oh
I
my
don't remember
god.
this team very well. I just remember that I wanted to draft like really like bizarre stuff.
Yeah, I can.
Like,
You
we
at
can
some
see
point
it.
picked up a Salamence, right, Daddy? Because it definitely beat me.
I did make. I think I made a lot of changes to this team. I tried to
Um,
draft a lot of Pokemon that I thought were like underrated.
Can I just point out that so you did my season 2 thing. I feel like you don't get clowned as much about this as I
No,
got
he didn't
clowned
draft
about
any
this.
ghost types.
No, but he drafted things that he just like thought people were wrong about, which is never a good idea because what's more likely, one person is wrong or the entire league is wrong. One person is wrong. But yeah, we were clowning my team for having a net ground weakness with a Magnezone. You have a Stack Attacka and another 4 times weakness and a net ground weakness.
Dude, this is way before I started looking at type charts. I didn't even know about the Ballhawk doc this season.
I kind of love it. I just love the chaotic nature of this.
Yeah, it was fun. Like, you know, around season 3 and then maybe season 4 was my bug team. This is when I just started doing kind of like weird experimental fun stuff.
Oh, you have baby and daddy, Lucario and Riolu. That's cute.
Yeah, I dropped Lucario, I think, before week 1, though.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
Lucario's terrible. I agree.
In some ways, this team is ahead of its time. I believe in explosiveness, and this team had explosiveness.
Yes, in some ways, but in other ways, I'm bringing ground moves.
It was awkward as hell.
And-
it was
and fire
weird.
moves. And
Yeah, it was
Yeah, this is a
weird.
weird team for
It
sure.
wasn't the worst, man. It was. I
But
mean,
it was
5 and
good
5 is
sometimes, right?
good,
You just
right.
click a tailwind and win with
It's-
Sylveon. You know,
it's
you have
actually-
plenty of ways to win.
It's actually kind of an amalgamation of mine and Jordan's teams, of just like it gets ruined by Quakes like my team and ruined by Airstreams like Jordan's team.
Jordan,
but
was
it
this
like
your first season or second?
but it has good
It was my
stuff.
second.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, it like has good stuffs, but is also like bulky and just like kind of gets beat. So it's kind of like the intersection of our teams. I don't know, Jordan. you agree with that?
It's like our teams, but not. And the
Oh,
but
no.
not is the key thing, is that it can win and it can force the issue where you either kill me or I'm killing you. And
Well,
that's
Gutra does
I
that.
think
Gutra does
what
that.
became more and more important as we
Gutra.
became better players.
I'm gonna keep talking about Gutra.
All right, yeah.
it's
you had a
Gudra's
big
season.
squidgy dragon.
It's
All right, we're gonna
Gudra
see plenty of
season.
Gudra. Stay tuned in the VBL
It's
podcast.
Gudra season.